This is one of the best rice cookers you can buy. Let's check it out. Dave Taylor here, and I'm checking this out. This is the Zojirushi pressure induction heating rice cooker. So they call them IH rice cookers. But if you have a rice cooker, then it basically just boils water and in the rice, right? And it's in the rice cooker and everything. This actually creates pressure and varies the pressure as the rice cooks. It's pretty darn slick, actually. Now, this is the 5.5 cup capacity. They also have a bigger 10 cup capacity unit, which is a lot. This is already pretty big. It's pressurized cooking and steaming the rice, and it creates a plump, sticky rice. I will tell you that I've made rice with this, and it's the best, fluffiest, tastiest rice that I've ever had. And I've gone through a lot of rice cookers in my time. So, for pressure setting, it uses AI and advanced fuzzy logic, so it actually figures out as it's cooking what's going on. And you can even give it feedback. When you're done cooking rice, you can tell it how it wasn't quite what you wanted, and it will adjust for the next time. There are 49 different settings depending on the rice and depending on how sticky or how firm you want it to be. You just dial those in and it'll give you perfect rice every time. Now, it's pretty sweet. Let me show you the front here. Actually, I'll give you a close-up so you can see that there's a bunch of buttons, and the My Rice is the memory feature. So you can choose rice type, you can actually dial in the type of cooking that you want, and it also works with things like porridges and oatmeal, if you want to try that. And then there's the 3 buttons for cancel, start, and timer. So really easy. You could get it all set up and then set it on timer, and then an hour before you're on your way home from work, it just turns on and starts cooking. You walk in the door to perfect rice. So really cool. Now let me show you when you open it up. It's a little more complex than a regular rice cooker, right? You can see here already on the top, but let me just go ahead and, okay, so now you can see this is part of the pressure system, and you put this on the top and it's how it manages the pressure. And that's really important, but then the bowl itself, this is way, way nicer than any bowl I've ever had in any rice cooker. This is iron coated and platinum infused, and it's big and heavy. And as you can see, there are gradations marked on the sides. So you dump in the rice that you want, you fill the water up to the level, depending on the kind of rice and the kind of cooking you want, you push the button and you walk away, and it does all the work. So I will say that the company Zojirushi is over 100 years old. They have been making cookware for a really long time. They really have a lot of experience. Now, one of the things that's really, really important with this, I guess I can't close it without that in there, but one of the things that's really important is you got to wash your rice. So I'm going to actually run some rice through this and show you how it comes out, which means, yes, I'm not going to make you watch it for 45 or 50 minutes cooking. So we'll have a little cut in there, but we're going to go and wash the rice, then we'll put it in, then we'll add the exact amount of filtered water, which is what I use in my kitchen, and then we'll let it cook and we'll see how it comes out. So we need to switch to sync cam. Let's go ahead and do that. All right, we have our bowl, we have the cup measure, and we have our organic white basmati rice. So the first step is to measure out the rice. And they tell you that you want to be really careful to get exact measure. So we're going to do that. And then I'm just going to run my finger along the top, and maybe just a smidge more than I need. So there's 1 cup. 1 cup. I'm going to do the same for a second cup. And pretty straightforward. And the trick with making rice is you got to get your rice to water ratio perfect. So that's just about right. So there's our 2 cups of water. Sorry, 2 cups of rice. Now I'm going to seal the rice up, put it out of the way. And now here's the part that's important. You got to wash your rice. And to do that, what you want to do is you want to actually fill it with water and swirl it around and then drain it out. And you want to do this a number of times. What they recommend is that you actually do a fill and rinse. So we'll do that. fill and rinse. And that should be enough. And you just swirl it around, maybe give it a little bit with your finger. And that's enough for now. So I'm going to rinse it or drain it. And you can see that there's starch in that water. We don't want that. So we'll do that. That looks good. So now we're going to do the same thing again. And they do it with an intermediate bowl because they say it's really important to be fast, but I feel like we can be pretty fast with this. So we'll do that. And then again, I'm going to drain it. And if you do this just right, you get all the water out without losing a single grain of rice. We'll see if I can do that. Well, it's looking a little risky. And then the next step is to agitate the rice. And what they recommend is going like 20 or 25 times around so that you can really sort of get as much starch out as you can. So that looks good. So now let's fill it up again. And you're probably thinking, I never go through this much work to rinse my rice, but I'll tell you, it's really important. Look at how much starch is still in there by the cloudiness of that water. And we'll do the rinse one more time, just for good luck. Because I don't think it's possible to get all the starch out, but we should be getting pretty close to having clear water. That water is definitely clearer than it was when we started. And I think that's going to be good enough. If you watch their video, you'll see they actually go through a lot more than this. But I have limited patience, so we're going to do this and drain it as much as we can because we want to get that water measure right. And so now we have our rice, and then you can see on the side here that we have white mixed, and we want to get 2 cups of water, or enough, 2 cups of rice is what we put in, so we want to put in enough water to get to there. So I'm going to put this here. Hopefully you can still see the measure line. Then I'm going to fill it up with that water that I already had sitting. And as I do that, might as well try to get some of the rice off the edges. And let's see. Well, that's 3 cups of water. I think I was overzealous there. So let's take a little bit out. It happens. Sometimes you have to fine-tune your recipes. And we'll get just a little more water out. Maybe one more. And that looks perfect, right on the line. So great. So now let me go ahead and switch camera back again. Okay, so we had a little bit too much water in, but we remedied the problem. So that worked out fine. Now all we need to do is put the rice in the water in the rice cooker. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. Easy enough. Close the rice cooker. And I'm going to start it. Now, by default, it has this very pleasant chime. So you ready? And what you were hearing is you're hearing it start to build pressure and suction so that it can get started cooking. Now on here it says 55 minutes. So I am not going to make you watch this for 55 minutes. So I'll be back when it's done. See you in a few minutes. All right, a bunch of time has elapsed, and on the unit it actually says there's 2 minutes left. Now, I started this so that we would be able to capture the ending tune, just like we had that starting tune. Now, if you're hearing that music and you're thinking, I don't really want Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, there's a way you can change the settings so it makes a sound or it makes no sound at all. So you can change that if you want. You can't pick a different song. And maybe that's probably a little overkill even for this unit, but you can turn off that music. However, I haven't turned it off, so in less than 1 minute, we should get another little song from the Zojirushi pressure induction heating rice cooker. And this is model NWJEC10, just so you know which one we're talking about. And any moment now, it's gonna start making this cheery little sound. And while we're waiting, let me give you some dimensions. It's 13.6 by 10.7 by 8.5 inches. It is a fairly decent size unit. And of course, it does have a handle that tilts up, so it's very easy to tote around. And it has a fairly short and fairly heavy cable for power, but it's only a 2-pronger, so it doesn't need ground, which makes this easy to work with pretty much in any kitchen. But honestly, oh wait, here we go. It's long too. There we go. Mission accomplished. Our rice is cooked. And now, if you're like me, then you are dying to open it up and see how it came out. And what they tell you is that as soon as it's done, you want to open it up and give it a little bit of a stir, just so you can sort of make sure that it doesn't get clumpy or anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some in a bowl so you'll be able to see what it looks like. This is a little awkward as it goes for working with rice, but hopefully you can see that. And this rice paddle comes with it, but you can see it's made some beautiful rice, and the grains all separate nicely, and it's not clumped, it's not soggy. That's really good. It's light and fluffy and really perfectly cooked. This is rice that I am absolutely ready to go and make into something like fried rice, or put a food over it, or mix it up with some veggies or something. And it was that easy. You know, obviously time passed without you having to watch, but suffice to say, this makes it really easy to work with. Let's see if I can get it to close. There we go. And that's really all there is. Now, cleanup, obviously, like any rice cooker, you have to take it apart and clean it. That's really important, so the next time you use it, you don't have yicky tasting rice. But again, that's really easy to work with. And in particular, the way that they have that inner pan, it's a really nice piece of metal. So just don't use anything abrasive. It'll come right clean and you'll be ready to use this again. And as for the rice, like I said, this is just beautifully cooked rice. Here's a close-up. You can see just how tasty that rice looks. I know, you're thinking, I'm ready to have a bowl of that. So the only thing left to talk about at this point is the price. And I will tell you, this is like the Lamborghini of rice cookers. This is not an inexpensive unit. In fact, when I tell you how much it is, you might turn pale. But before we get to the price, let me ask if you could subscribe to my channel. Click or tap on that subscribe button and we're connected. Great. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you know about my upcoming reviews. And I'll tell you, I review a lot of stuff. I get a lot of consumer electronics, and I'm always straightforward and candid. Cool. Now this, tilt it forward a little bit, is the Zojirushi pressure induction heating rice cooker, and it is $699.95 at Amazon.com. Yes, you heard me correct. This is a $700 rice cooker. So this is not for you to have in the dorms. But if you're a home chef, if you're a cook, if you are doing food prep in your house and you want the best, tastiest possible rice, and you want to dial in exactly how you want your rice in terms of firmness or gelatinousness, glutinousness, whatever that would be, then this is really the best rice cooker you could buy. This is head and shoulder above any other rice cooker I've ever used, and I've gone through a lot of expensive rice cookers. This is just a beauty. I really, really like it. Make sure you spend the time to wash your rice before you cook with it, and you're good to go. It's super easy. You can set a timer. Lots to love. Just figure out how to justify it so that no one else knows. Just don't tell people how much you paid for it, and you'll be great. Definitely one to check out. That's all I got. I got to get back to my rice, so I'll catch you in my next video.